Hello, and how is everybody's doing today? Today's topic is on Dr. Umar Johnson and his haters' transparency. Dr. Johnson is trying to build an independent school for young black boys and girls called the FDMG Academy. FDMG stands for Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. It's an independent school. Dr. Johnson wants an independent school, not a charter, public, or private school like traditional black schools are. Independent means it will be Dr. Johnson's and the people who go to that school or support that particular school academy, and will not belong to the banks like a lot of charter, public, or private schools are. That's why Dr. Johnson wants an independent school and not take out a bank loan like some of his haters think he should. Some charter, public, or private schools that are predominantly black have closed down nationwide. Also, only 30% of black boys graduate from high school in some cities and states. The research suggests that. That's why he calls it the pipeline to prison effect, which basically means when a black kid gets put into special ed or gets suspended and either gets kicked out or dropped out of school, his future is pretty much bleak, and crime is sometimes the answer for survival. The evidence is overwhelming. Even though facts back up Dr. Johnson's assessment, his haters/detractors don't see it that way. Dr. Johnson's haters seem to want no transparency. Given the fact that if you're on a platform or comment section where they're at, and you start asking them questions, simple questions as to why he wants an independent school rather than a private, public, or charter school, they sometimes just don't answer the question, ignore it altogether, or just say they want to believe what they want to believe, and they just look at other hater channels for entertainment. They pretty much have their minds made up that it's a school scam, which seems kind of odd considering Dr. Johnson has a public number that he gives out and is on all of his social media accounts, and he gives out nearly daily reports on his school transparency. Not only that, he has social media that he's active on daily, if not every other day. Also, he gives lectures. He's on a lot of radio talk shows as well. Even though it's proof he bought the building and renovations are being made on the building, and there's video evidence to suggest that, as well as paperwork, his haters seem to think it's not being done fast enough, even though they are not donors themselves. Some of these channels that discredit or criticize Dr. Johnson's work or his school not only are not donors, but are not in a good financial position themselves. And there's a lot of evidence to prove that. But they seem to want to criticize Dr. Johnson as much as possible, even though Dr. Johnson has made efforts since day one when the school was obtained January of 2019. These are donations and not investments. Dr. Johnson said it's a grassroots movement and may take a little more time because it's a grassroots movement, meaning it's consistent of small donations, a few big ones, but mostly small donations from the people. The haters haters, no matter how much proof there is of Dr. Johnson and his FDMG, Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey School Academy, is legit, they want to live in their own reality and create their own narrative. On the Breakfast Club, Charlamagne the God, who also hosts or a co-host on the show Brilliant Idiots, told his white counterpart, Andrew Schultz, that Dr. Johnson School is legit when Andrew Schultz wanted to debate him as well. He said the Breakfast Club always research their guests and come up with facts on their guests. Also, Roland Martin double-checked Dr. Umar's credentials as well. He's even stated it, and on a town hall meeting, it even said Dr. Umar Johnson PHD. It's crazy that racists that are fully aware of Dr. Johnson has not did any criticism of Dr. Johnson. Why? Because most, if not all, have done their research on him and found out his degrees are credible and his FDMG Academy is legit and have legit funding. Every agency has been called on Dr. Umar Johnson. Some radio shows that Dr. Johnson been on have checked him out as well. Also, it states in the HuffPost as well as other publications that in 2012, Dr. Johnson did receive his PhD in psychology. So, if legitimate publications, as well as legitimate radio talk show hosts and platforms and other channels have all agreed that Dr. Johnson is legitimate and this is not no school scam, or he doesn't have his credentials or degrees, if it's good enough for them, then it should be good enough to people who do not do their own research, but primarily get their information from a particular hater or a few haters that don't do adequate research and just basically talk out of both sides of their mouths. The delusional followers that follow these channels don't do any research and are fooled by channels hosts that have either good diction or fake PowerPoints. Or I would just say it like this. They have good diction and PowerPoints, but are misleading PowerPoints, as evidence has suggested. Dr. Johnson has no criminal record, no charges pending against him. He is worldwide, not nationwide, but worldwide, and has an active passport. So, if he was behind on child support or were not paying child support, the passport will be one of the first things to go from him and will not be in his possession. So with that being said, and the research being done, I wish Dr. Johnson good luck. Hopefully, some of the detractors will see the light and agree that Dr. Umar Johnson is legit and his school is legit. Signing off. Thank you very much.